Welcome back. In this session, I want to talk about what I think is one of the most important aspects of small and medium enterprise marketing, just how you talk to people about your business. The idea of networking and word of mouth and how you get other people within your circle or within your town or wherever to know about your business. And I also want to talk about why that's more than just social media, because many people who talk to me from small businesses tend to think that if I'm doing my Facebook, if I'm doing my website and so on, I have generated word of mouth. It's not quite the case, and I want to talk about why. First of all, let me just say, many of you will probably already know this, but word of mouth is in fact the key to small and medium enterprise marketing. Most of us underestimate how news travels. People talk an amazing amount. The views of one person about your business or service spread far and fast, and not just on social media. It is simply the case that personal recommendations and complaints are more believable than paid ads or paid PR. So it's really important that we encourage this talking, but make sure that people have positive things to say about your business. And in that context, I'm going to talk a little bit about how we have a good story to tell about our business and why customer service is the most important part of word of mouth. First of all, let me contrast social media strategies to what I'm talking about here, the perhaps simpler talking about talking strategy. Social media is important, but it's a vehicle for delivering a message. It's not an end in itself. So while you will have people telling you how vital it is and how important you have a strategy, what I want to tell you is think about what you're going to say and get used to saying it to real people, and that will help you develop a better social media strategy, a better Facebook pages and so on. The value of social media varies markedly from business to business. It doesn't guarantee useful word of mouth. Just because you're on Facebook doesn't mean it's going to be helpful or get viewed even. It often seems simple. I just have to put up a picture on Instagram or whatever. But if you're going to do it well and not look amateur and stupid, it burns time and effort. So if it's an important part of your strategy, you have to be serious about it, just as you have to be serious about any form of marketing. So let's focus first on what you want to say and what you need to say in the general course of your everyday business, and that will help you use social media. So my marketing lesson number 6 is be ready to talk about your business. It sounds simple, but I find that many entrepreneurs and small enterprise owners are not good at it. Some of them talk too much and on too many topics and for too long, and others are really shy and find it hard. So I want you to develop a quick pitch to describe the value your business provides. And more, and this sounds a bit authoritarian, but I want you to actually make it a priority to force everyone on the staff to have their own version of this. It's really important that anybody who works for you or with you can also say the same sorts of things about your business, get the same points across. So what's this quick pitch thing? Well, many of you will have heard of the elevator pitch. It's just simply the idea that you should have a few things ready to say about your business, the benefits it provides to the customer, quick description, provides. It's kind of the thing that you say when someone asks you, what do you do? Or why should I use your business? It should be something that's short and accurate and focused on your value to your customers and clients. And that's why working out what the value is that you have to your Maria or Marcus is so important. Look, people expect a business owner to be a little bit sales orientated when they're describing a business. You don't have to be afraid of that, but use natural language and avoid jargon and acronyms. Word of mouth is the most effective form of marketing. So if you can easily describe your advantages, it's really, really good. And if you can't, it's a problem. So this is an important exercise, and I want you to take it seriously. I don't want you to be shy about it, and I don't want you to think you can already do it. Why it's important is it makes you more confident about talking about your business so that you will have the key points, the things that matter not to you, not what you're most excited about today, but what matters to Maria on hand. Having a good quick pitch makes you sound like you care about your business. It's more than just a job. And as you do this exercise, I think once more it'll make you think about what benefits, what features that you've got, what you're emphasizing that really matters to Maria. And as I keep saying, it's about the emotional motivations that she has for entering your shop or not entering your shop, as well as the functional reasons. It helps you think of the best words and style to use to describe your business for a real person, and generates ideas, language that you can use in developing your social media. So the better you get at describing your business, the better you'll be on social media at thinking about what you've got to get across. Now, I want to distinguish and tell you what I think a quick pitch should not be. It's not a mission statement. I'm a bit anti-mission statements in general. They're mostly useless drivel. It can be useful when you're working out what your business is about to have a think about what you're really trying to do. But even if you do that, it's mostly what you aspire to be, not what you can deliver right now. And often they've been designed by a committee, and if you say them out loud, you sound like a boring politician. It's much more important you think about developing what value you're offering to your customer than thinking about some grand description of your grand aspiration. Secondly, they shouldn't be a standardized spiel. The big corporations, the McDonald's of the world, develop for their staff standardized spiels to say to customers. That's not because they're brilliant, but that's because they deal with so many people and have so many staff that it's easy for them to get it wrong, to say the wrong thing. You might, before you know it, you're facing a discrimination or lawsuit, or someone's offended because someone said it wrong. You aren't that kind of company. You don't need to sound like robots. Give your staff key talking points, the same ones that you work out, or work out together with them. Better yet, it's much better to work out what the value of your business is with others and get them to put it in their own words. Say, I want you to get this across, but I want, when you get it across, to try and get these two things. So this is a useful exercise not to do just for yourself, but with everybody who's involved with your business. And it's once again, it all starts with thinking about Maria or Marcus and what matters to them. So imagine you met one of them and they ask you, what sort of business are you in? What we're trying to do is think about what talking points really would interest her. What's one or two things she wants? What adds value? What's about it? Just not everything. You may think there's hundreds of things that are great about your business, but you don't have time to deliver that. And once again, that exercise helps you think about what's most important to them. Try and think beyond simple descriptors of your business, the generic things. We make plastic pylons or whatever, to get at emotional needs. So not we make better quality swings for kids, but we use stronger materials to keep the kids safe. Or we make swings that really look like a wonderful asset in your garden. So really think about style and emotion and what's behind them using it. So what's the basic requirements for a quick pitch? What do you have to do? Now, online you'll see a lot of people, many of them better communicators than me, who can give you advice on developing an elevator or a quick pitch, and some of them have 7 or 8 key points and things that you need to have it. I think there's one or two key things. A hook. This doesn't have to be anything brilliant. It's simply the first thing that you say to grab attention. It encourages people to keep talking, to ask you another question. It could be, we're the friendliest small shop in the whole neighbourhood, and delivered with a smile that gets people laughing and ask you about your business. Then you need a couple of talking points. These are based on your feeling of what's valuable and discriminating about your business, and putting that in Maria's language. As I said before, 1 or 2 points only, and a call to action. What you want the audience to do. Come and look at your new discount offer, tell someone else about your business. What do you want this person that you're talking to or people that you're talking to do about it? So that's it, a hook, a couple of talking points and a call to action. Then, and this is what people sometimes find the hardest, write it down on paper and then change it into natural language so it doesn't sound like your mission statement and it sounds like a person's conversation. Practice saying it. You're not going to say it exactly as you practice it next time you're talking to someone. You should, in fact, vary it by circumstances. It's the way you talk about your business at a party should be different from someone who's come up and asked you what the difference between your business and another business is. So, as an example, and I was having a chat with a butcher the other day, so this is where my example comes from. So, let's imagine Maria meets Jim somewhere and says, "Hey Jim, nice to meet you. What line of work are you in?" Now, Jim could just say, "Oh, I'm a butcher," which wouldn't lead to very much really. You'd say, "Oh, that's nice," or "not nice," and move on to some other topic like the weather. But instead, Jim says, "Hey Maria, well, most people know me as Jim the Butcher, but I tell people in fact that I'm in the meal failure prevention business." That's his hook. If you say you're in the meal failure prevention business, it's at least going to get a little smile and an inquiry probably. "Hey, yeah, why's that?" "Jim, well, when a family meal doesn't work out, often it's not the cook's fault. It's down to the shop not cutting the meat with care, or sometimes they even inject it with water or whatever." I always tell my staff, custom cut it the old-fashioned way. We've got training things around that, and we don't adulterate our meat. So I think our business is really not about butchery, but about saving meal failures. Communicated value in a slightly interesting way, a couple of points, something that differentiates him from the supermarket. And probably that'll get at least a laugh and maybe a bit of empathy out of Maria. And then he can deliver his call to action. "Hey, well, drop in, mention my name. We're giving customers some special homemade sausages free for new customers." And he's giving her an incentive and an action and encouraging her. And hopefully next time she walks past Jim, she thinks, "Oh, well, I might just go in and try those sausages." Or she will at least tell someone else that he sounds pretty good, you should give him a go. Okay, once you've got the chat, you're not feeling too shy about delivering it or not going to say too much, and you know what you want to basically get across, then it's time to sort of think about how you can network and partner. And obviously this is going to be very specific depending on whether you're making long run iron or whether you're just a coffee shop or whatever. But think about related companies. People that are doing things that your other customers go to. Not ones that are just directly in the same business as you, but companies that may be working with the same sort of customers as you. If you're making small toys for children, maybe it's the coffee shops where young mothers gather and have a latte or something that you can do joint promotions or events at. So try and think outside just directly related organisations and think about who you could deal with it. Think also about networking with business, professional or user organisations. You must join your Facebook and LinkedIn groups, or maybe think about the Chamber of Commerce or Lions or Businesswoman associations, whatever, where you can meet people who will tell other people about your business or give you ideas about things that you can do to get at other people. The other people is to think about as influencers, people and organisations. So I don't mean just the idea of social media or Instagram influencers or whatever, but endorsements from people your customers respect or deal with regularly. It might be the teacher at the local school, it might be the minister or priest at your church or whatever. How can you talk to them and get involved with them so that they spread a bit of a message about you? And finally, one area to consider with networking is your rivals. And oddly enough, sometimes your rivals are the best partners that you can have. So think about the list, think about who you can network. Really, once you've got your chat, get into those places and use them. In terms of rivals, it's important to get on well with your competition. Look, I know some of your rivals can be irritating, but good marketers, and this is important, don't let personal pride get in the way of developing business. Remember, these rivals are interested in growing the total sales of whatever sector or area that you're in, and more sales in that area will help everybody. They will have the news. They'll know what's going on at the local council or what the new government regulations might mean. Together you can afford to do bigger promotions. If you're selling motorcycles, you can do a motorcycle safety week together or whatever. Maybe if they're busy or they don't have a particular skill, they can refer the customer to you. At very least, you'll learn something about how they operate that you can probably apply to your business. So keep in touch with your rivals and consider what you can usefully do together. All right, now later we'll talk about other tactics for developing word of mouth to some and how it fits in your marketing and where you should think about it. But customers generally are your biggest word of mouth tool. Customer experience gets shared really widely. Now, the research differs and the estimates vary quite a lot, but it seems that maybe 50 to 80% talk about big experiences, good or bad. So there's a lot of talking going on about things that happen in businesses and with business owners. Social media certainly helps spread that and it reaches many, but in fact, what we know is that person to person is more common. So it's much more common to talk to your uncle or your friend than to rush out and put that's something you've experienced on Facebook. So you may never hear the good or bad news. We also know that a recommendation from an acquaintance even is more valuable than any paid PR. The sad thing is that bad news gets shared quite widely. Some estimates put it up to twice as much. So, you may have two times as many people saying bad things about you as good things if they experience a problem. Also, bad experiences last longer in people's minds. A nice experience tends to be something that we kind of expect and we're grateful for, and it kind of goes away. A bad experience can put us off using that service or website or visiting it again for a long time. Sometimes some say 1 or 2 years even. And finally, bad news is especially likely to be shared online, especially by younger people. So what I want to get you across is that one of the biggest places of word of mouth comes from is from the interactions of your business and your staff with customers. So staff training, developing your skills and dealing with people, remaining friendly and so on is really, really important. It's worth investing in. So because of all of that, what I'm really trying to tell you is that before you think about all sorts of the events and special things you can do to generate word of mouth, the real word of mouth tool you've got to get right is service standards. Now, I'm not going to read out all of these. They're hopefully basics, things about smiling and being reliable and dealing fast with customers' complaints. I will say, if you're getting into customer complaints online, try and find some way of taking them offline. Send them a message and say, can I talk to you separately or whatever if you can. And I would also point out, because it isn't always, that one of the ways you can deliver good service is simply about being more expert about your products and services than your rivals, being able to give helpful advice. I'd also say a really basic thing is not only giving good service, but using that service to gather contact details of customers and creating a list of database so you can give them good news and updates and special offers and those things that will generate extra word of mouth. So think of your service standards and your service training as all being about generating word of mouth as well as everything else that you do. Perhaps the most important things for many small businesses is reframing how you're thinking about customer service. It's not dealing with whiners. It's not something extra. It's not just a cost. It does cost, of course. It shouldn't be thought of as a chore, and it shouldn't be thought of as secondary other tasks. It's really, really important. For an SME, it should be a competitive advantage over big stores or big corporations or whoever you're fighting, a point of difference. It's something that you have the opportunity to do better. So reframe it as a competitive advantage that you have And that time that you're dealing with a difficult customer, think of it as a key part of your job. Not necessarily the most pleasant one, but a key part nonetheless. Honesty time again. How do you rate? Firstly, how confident do you feel about giving Maria a decent quick pitch? If you're a 1 star, go back and redo the exercise, talk to others, try and think about what you should be saying in 1 or 2 points. Try and have a smooth customer service message that you can deliver at the next party or wherever you're talking about your business. If you're a 2, go to the next stage, but keep thinking about it and keep refining it. And as always with 3, good on you, but try your pitch out on a few people and who you trust to give you honest feedback and see what they say. Okay, we're now going to get delving into some of the more detailed parts in the next session. I want to talk about checking out your current marketing approaches, because it's often the case that you've got things that you can reuse or redo, and you should certainly look at that, how you assess whether your marketing is any good at the moment before you dive into big changes. And if you haven't really started your business properly, it may be just the things you're thinking of doing, how to assess those. So, see you next time. Thank you very much again for listening.